Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like.
It was the coldest night of the year, and the first crack in Lisa's world appeared. A clean slice of ice burying itself into her heart. She stood at the corner of Maple Street, dense fog wrapping around her like a funeral shroud. Her thoughts consumed by the warmth he once brought her, now threatening to drown her in sorrow. A flicker of light caught her eye from the bar across the street, and with each feeble lamp illuminating the damp pavement, the shadows whispered secrets she was not yet ready to hear. Inside, laughter erupted like shards of glass, piercing through her thoughts. This was the kind of laughter that painted smiles on people's faces, blind to the darkness lurking just beneath the surface. Here, she could pretend for a moment that everything was fine, that Marcus, her boyfriend of 3 years, wasn't losing interest in their relationship. But how long could she wear the mask? Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that Marcus was hiding something. Each time his phone buzzed with a message, a knot twisted within her stomach. It wasn't jealousy that gripped her. It was the uncertainty of betrayal. She had seen the way he looked at other women, the fleeting gazes that lingered a moment too long. They filled her with dread. "You're awfully quiet tonight," Marcus observed, offering her a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. There was an edge to him, a mirage of warmth concealing a brewing storm. Lisa faked a smile back, feeling the bitter taste of lies dance on her tongue. "Just thinking about us," she replied cautiously, her heart racing, the honesty hanging precariously in the air. Would he sense her doubt? The thought that maybe, just maybe, he had not been true to her? He leaned in closer, brushing his fingers along her cheek. "Us? You know I care about you, right?" His eyes shifted, momentarily clouded by something she couldn't name. An innuendo that sparked warning bells in her mind. Things are just complicated sometimes. The ambiguity stung like salt in a fresh wound, but Lisa nodded, willing to overlook the warning. After all, love often required a veil of trust. As the night deepened, Lisa felt buried beneath layers of confusion and dread. What complicated things, Marcus? Was it his sudden late-night work calls? The time spent away that became longer and more frequent? She forced herself to breathe, to hold on to the hope that their love could conquer whatever darkness loomed behind him. Yet, a part of her was already mourning a future that felt increasingly uncertain. Unbeknownst to her, just as she grappled with her doubts, Marcus sat at the bar across the room, lost in his own world. He chuckled with a woman named Clara, her laughter infectious, setting off a spark in Marcus's chest that had long simmered under the heat of familiarity, one that had come to rival the warmth he once found only in Lisa. Clara leaned closer, her whispers teasing him, coaxing his insecurities to the surface with an ease that Lisa had long since lost in their relationship. "Why are you wasting your time on someone who doesn't appreciate you?" Clara mused, tilting her head as she searched his eyes. "You deserve better than her. Why don't you let loose for once?" Lisa could feel the weight of the moment pressing down, suffocating. Drowning in those thoughts, she turned her head, catching a glimpse of them across the room. Her heart dropped into her stomach, a clamoring pulse of dread as she witnessed a panic twisted her insides, restricting her breath. She forced herself to divert her gaze, tossing back another shot of whiskey, a desperate attempt to numb the seething pain that emerged at the thought of her betrayal. She could still retreat and reclaim her trust in him, if only he would return to her side where they both belonged. The next morning came with an overcast sky that matched the heaviness in her chest. Lisa replayed the night over and over, flinging accusations at herself, trying to rationalize the phantoms that grew heavier beneath her skin. Mornings had never felt so deceptive. Sunlight poured through the window like a reminder of hope, but Lisa felt anything but hopeful. As she prepared for work, her phone buzzed on the table, an urgent message. In a rush, she opened it, hoping for a glimmer of normalcy. Instead, it was a photo of Clara smiling seductively, the caption reading, "Can't wait to see you again, handsome." That became the tipping point, the slow unraveling of her trust cascading into a flood of betrayal. Lisa stared at the screen, her heart racing, fury latching onto her veins. Out of nowhere, a wave of sick dread washed over her vision blurring with the realization that the man she loved was playing her for a fool, thriving in the warmth of infidelity. With shaking hands, she dialed Marcus's number, each ring echoing her mounting anxiety. When he finally answered, his warm, lazy voice ignited her fury. "Hey, babe, what's up?" "Don't hey, babe, me," she interrupted, her voice breaking slightly as the weight of betrayal crushed her. "Clara, really?" Silence surged through the line, an unsettling quiet draped in the tension that hung like a noose between them. She could practically hear his thoughts racing, scrambling to come up with a plausible lie. "Lisa, listen." "No, you listen. I'm not some fool you can toy with. I saw you with her. I saw how you looked." His response was a mess of defensive babbling, attempts at clearing the air before it completely collapsed. But with each frayed word, the distance between them grew insurmountable. The affection she had poured into their relationship withered into resentment, like flowers turning to ash in wildfire. "You're blowing this out of proportion, Lisa. She's just a friend," he blurted, and in that moment, his dodge only fueled the fire of her heartbreak. "A friend? Keep telling yourself that. How many more lies until you think I'll believe you? You're nothing but a coward." And there it was, the bitter seed of hatred nestled in her chest. A small part of her had hoped the anger would dissipate, but it only grew, feeding off her grief, simmering dangerously, like a pot about to boil over. As she hung up, she felt cold, as if the warmth she once felt with him had been completely stripped away. She spent the day at work in a haze, her colleagues oblivious to the battle between chaos and clarity raging within her. Each task felt like a monumental effort, every smile a veneer for the unraveling turmoil. When her shift finally ended, she stumbled out into the deepening dusk, her mind racing with thoughts of revenge, thoughts of retribution against the man who had shattered her trust. No longer the naive girl who believed in undying love, she now sought revenge, sharpening her emotions into blades of vengeance. She envisioned herself confronting both Marcus and Clara, ripping through their facade of laughter and revealing the dark, disappointing truth. But how could she inflict the kind of pain they had thrust upon her? As the sun dipped below the horizon, darkness wrapped around her like a cloak of determination. Every heartbeat was a countdown to a reckoning she craved to unleash. She remembered the quote from a book she once read: "Revenge can be a dish best served cold." And as she walked on, anger coursing through her veins, she was determined to cook this dish perfect. It was time to turn her heartbreak into a weapon. Time to craft a strategy to make them feel the betrayal they had inflicted on her. In the days that followed, Lisa morphed her pain into motivation, seeking the perfect moment for her revenge. She watched Marcus and Clara from the distance, planning every element, determining the risk and reward. The facade she had worn transformed into a mask of indifference. She had become an actress in her own tragedy, a woman scorned with nothing left to lose. One quiet Saturday evening, the battlefield would be set. There was a party at Marcus's apartment, a celebration where secrets flowed as freely as the alcohol. Lisa stood outside, heart pounding in rhythm with the thrill of anticipation. She felt like a ghost slipping into the fight, ready to expose their sins and deliver either freedom or the venomous satisfaction of revenge. But as she prepared to put her plan into action, thoughts of consequences hovered just out of reach. Was she ready to become the very monster she was attempting to confront? Would revenge fulfill her, or simply bury her deeper into the pit of despair? Her heart was heavy but resolute as she took a step into the dimly lit apartment. Every pulse, every breath was an echo of betrayal, a tick on the timer that bound her fate to theirs. And with each glance at the shadows shifting in the distance, she whispered her own vow. The pieces were just falling into place, and the game of betrayal was about to begin. As the door creaked open, the sounds of laughter and music flooded Lisa's senses, each note like a dagger piercing the calm she had crafted. Confident and unwavering in her mask of indifference, she stepped inside, soaking in the familiar chaos. Everyone was here, friends mingling, drinks flowing, and revelers lost in the rhythm of the evening. And there, amidst it all, was Marcus, his arm draped casually around Clara, their laughter ringing like a taunt in her ears. The sight ignited a fresh wave of fire within Lisa. How could he stand there so carefree while she bore the weight of their betrayal? It was time to strike. Feeling alive with anger, vengeance coursed through her veins, sharpening her focus. Spotting an empty chair, she slid into it, observing her prey. The plan began to unfold in her mind like the pages of a well-thumbed book, each detail meticulously plotted. She needed to bait them both, reveal their betrayal before their friends, and shatter what little remains of their bond. Gathering her courage, she pulled out her phone, concocting a text that played on his emotions. "I hope you're having fun with your little friend. I know the truth. Tonight is your last hurrah, Marcus. Enjoy while you can." She hit send, the message zipping into the ether as her heart thudded with anticipation. A few moments passed, and she watched Marcus's face contort as he received the notification. A wave of confusion, followed by apprehension, washed over him, and she reveled in the moment. "Everything okay? Everything okay?" Clara asked, her snug tone dripping with condescension, the kind of tone that Lisa had long grown to loathe. As Marcus's eyes darted around the room, searching for Lisa, she felt satisfaction tighten within her. "Just a text from Lisa," he muttered. The innocence in his voice was put to the test as he attempted to brush Clara's curiosity aside, but she persisted, weaving her way through the layers of their deception. "Don't you ever wonder what she's really up to?" Clara tilted her head, her voice a sultry whisper dripping with malice. "Maybe she's lurking around, waiting to pounce." At that moment, Lisa rose gradually from her chair, drawing every eye on her, confidence radiating from her now steadfast heart. And she didn't miss the way Marcus stiffened, the realization finally dawning on him. The game was on. "Isn't that funny, Clara?" Lisa's voice cut through the murmur of the party like a knife. Everyone grew silent, except for the rhythmic pulse of music that continued to play, a harsh backdrop to the impending storm. "You should know all about lurking. It's basically your specialty." Gasps erupted around the room, shock painting the faces of their friends as they turned to Verona the unyielding truth. Marcus's expression twisted into one of anger and desperation, mere seconds from losing control. "What the hell, Lisa?" He stepped forward, rage flickering in his dark eyes. "Save it, Marcus. You don't get to play the victim now. Not after you've played me for a fool." She paused, letting her words sink heavily into the room. "A coward hiding behind another woman's skirts. You should probably give Clara a medal for pulling you away with her charms." Clara's face paled as her composure shattered, eyes darting around to the growing audience, uncertainty cascading from her cheeks. Lisa could see fear, a reflection of her own pain in her eyes. But this was not a moment designed for sympathy. "Don't act surprised, Clara. How many times did you think you could slink into my life without consequence?" Lisa's tone dripped venom, and the fervor of her words traveled through the crowd, gripping everyone in a vice of tension. "You don't know what you're talking about," Clara shouted back, her arrogance collapsing like dry sand under Grace's pressure. But her shaky voice betrayed her, causing Lisa's lips to curl into a semblance of a smile, sweet vindication lining her throat. "Come on. We both know how this works," Lisa replied. "You make your moves in shadows, away from people who think they know you. Did you think I would sit idly by? Oh, please, Lisa. You were the one who was blind," Clara snapped. Lisa felt the breath catch in her throat as shock flicked through the audience, their eyes bouncing between them, waiting for the final blow. "The only one blind here is Marcus," Lisa finally said, pointing right at him, her voice laced with satisfaction as anger slid off her tongue. "Look around. Look at these people. They're about to witness the man who destroyed your trust. They're going to witness your cowardice, Marcus." As the final word hung in the air, the crowd shifted uneasily, the tension simmering. Marcus's eyes darkened, fury bubbling beneath his skin. The storm was brewing. "You're delusional. You can't just come in here and watch me," she interjected, adrenaline igniting her senses. "You think I'd let you trample over my heart and walk away? Think again. You might have enjoyed every second of your betrayal, but it's time the world knows just how weak you really are." The game had reached its boiling point, the air thick with anticipation as tentative whispers erupted from the onlookers, who now stood petrified, straddling the line between fascination and horror. "Is this about to turn into a fight?" someone murmured, confusion sweeping over their faces as the tension simmered, minds racing and drawn to the spectacle before them. "You want to confront me?" Marcus bellowed, but there was a tremor to his voice. The man was losing control, a puppet unraveling from its strings. Lisa could feel the weight of the moment. The stakes had never been this high, and that rushed feedback ignited her heart like a wild flame. "Face it, Marcus. You can't run from the truth any longer. Your lies crumble around you." "Lies? Crumble around you?" "You're the one lying to yourself," he retorted hotly. "You think I'm just some villain in your story. Look in the mirror. Maybe it's time you see the rotting person staring back." Their words collided, sending shockwaves through the room as the murmurs escalated. Lisa's fists clenched. Every word he threw was a reaffirmation of the pain he had caused, and she knew the reaction she sought was finally within reach. But it wasn't enough. She could sense the quaking balance of their bond, still tethered by shared memories that bound them in an invisible way. She had to make this final. It had to sting. "Sure, let's focus on me," Lisa snapped back, setting her sights on Clara, who shrunk back under her calculated intensity. "Hey, but tell me, Marcus, does it feel good to know that while you bask in someone else's admiration, your best friend is one sentence away from exposing everything?" The atmosphere thickened, the tension coiling tighter as she laid out the evidence, the cruel thread of each revelation like art on display, meticulously crafted to engross the crowd. Every sly smile. "It's all behind us now," she called out over the din of rising chaos. "I've seen the pictures and I've studied the texts you thought were hidden, every detail meticulously stored away for this very moment." In a frenzy, she pulled out her phone and displayed the incriminating text that Marcus sent Clara, a taunting reminder that would haunt him forever. Gasps echoed through the apartment as vivid faces turned pale, and the realization hit like a freight train. Look at his words. Nothing says, "I care more," than secretive whispers behind the back of the very one who trusted them. Lisa breathed into the heavy silence, the hushed shock around them reverberating through her veins like wildfire. "Nor the photo of that kiss," she added, letting her words sink in. "You were so caught up in your own desires that you didn't even think of who would get hurt." Marcus turned pale. He was unraveling before their eyes. His facade crumbled. The facade he built was disintegrating, and Lisa savored the moment as though she was tasting the sweet nectar of revenge. "This isn't just about us, Marcus. You wanted a game. Let's see who plays it better," Lisa finished, the thrill of it all igniting a wild spark in her heart. A chill swept through the room. Everyone exchanged shocked glances, eyes widening in unison. "Thank goodness I'm not by your side, because right now I'm witnessing a coward unravel and the failure to fully grasp what betrayal truly feels like." Every word hung heavy in the air, the aftermath of betrayal crashing around them like shattered glass. Just then, Lisa stepped forward, her voice firm and unwavering as she pointed towards Marcus. "You see this cowardice reflected in Clara's eyes? This is the last time you'll ever toy with me. I will not allow you to think for one more minute that you can hide from the truth." Before he could respond, Lisa turned her back on him and walked toward the door, the unyielding echo of her heartbeat underscoring the finality of her departure. She stood still for a heartbeat, then glanced back one last time over her shoulder, locking eyes with Marcus, an icy chill lingering between them. "Don't forget you're beneath me now, just like Clara with her lies." The final burn cut through the air as she stepped out into the night, leaving behind a broken man amidst the ruins of betrayal. Marcus and Clara would face the repercussions of their actions, the expanse of their desires finally laid bare. And as Lisa stepped out of that apartment, she felt unshackled, the pain dissolving like sugar in the rain. A storm of betrayal had passed, and her heart thundered with the exhilarating rush of freedom. Laughter rang in her ears as she departed from the charred remains of broken trust. A fire ignited within her soul nonetheless. She had risen from the ashes of deceit. With each step forward, she knew life would carry on in shades of revenge. For in this dance of pain and release, she had come to understand the very essence of liberation through revenge. The night closed around her like a cocoon, suffocating all that had tainted her existence, and she breathed in freedom for the first time. The twist of fate was not merely a poetic passage, but a forge of rebels. Stirring within her, the woman scorned had become a guardian of her own unrelenting truth. In the shadows, revenge whispered a promise, a crescendo echoing through the night as every heartbeat drew her closer to the healing that she so desperately sought. Unbound by his lingering charades, the final curtain on this chapter had drawn. She had stormed through the night, armed with the fervor of deception thrown in flames, and emerged victorious, just when she thought trust could never breathe again. Peace and satisfaction roared like wildfires in her chest, flames dancing to the rhythm of her heart. The revenge well-deserved life would unfold anew, painted in the deepest shades of liberation and justice served.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like.